This video is for Algebra, section 11.6, Similar Triangles. Our learning goal: the learner will apply knowledge of similar triangles to identify them and to find missing measures in pairs of similar triangles. So in other words, some of them they'll give you pictures and ask you if they're similar triangles based on the definition. And other ones, they will tell you they're similar triangles and ask you to find a missing measure based on the properties. Our vocabulary terms: similar triangles are any two triangles where the corresponding angles are equal. In other words, the angles that are in the same position or same place are equal. And corresponding sides are proportional. So the sides that should match up are proportionate. Not the same, just proportionate. And prerequisite skills: obviously we're talking about proportional sides. You need to use proportions. And you need to know what congruency means, or you wouldn't know what any of that meant. Homework 11.6, evens in the packet. There is no real algorithm for today. There's not that much to it that you need an algorithm. Number 1, determine whether each pair of triangles is similar. Justify your answer. And if you look at the picture, they have two triangles drawn. Basically, they tell you this is 30, this is 120. And they have the second one drawn, and they tell you this is 30 and this is 30. You do need to find out what the missing measures are. So if this is 120 and this is 30, together that's 150. That means I have 30 degrees left, so that goes there because I have to add up to 180. So if these two are 30, this one's going to have to be 120, which means, yes, they are similar because all the angles match up. Number 3. They didn't even give you numbers this time. They just gave you some symbols, which we'll talk about. See if I can draw them. And they gave you these and that. And if you remember congruency, this means these are congruent because they have matching marks, congruency arcs. And these have matching congruency arcs, so those two match. If two of the angles match, the third one is going to have to match, which means, yes, they are going to be similar. Number 5. They give you a 45 and an 80, and, don't pay attention to my drawing, don't go by what it looks like. And they give you another one where they have 45 and 55. So over here, I need to do 80 plus 45. That's going to give me 125. Subtract that from 180 so I can find out what the other angle is. And I get 55. So that means this angle is 55. That's a 45 and a 55, so this one has to be 80. So they do match. So all of those matched. On the second page is where there's actually some work to do. On the second page it says, for each set of measures, find the measures of the missing sides. And they tell you that triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. Okay, and they do give you pictures, but I'd like to show you that the pictures aren't really necessary, so I'll show you how to do it without them. And they tell you C is 15, D is 8, E is 6, and F is 10. And then basically you need to find all of the missing sides. So if I do draw you a triangle, so this is A, B, C, D, E, oops, A, B, C, D, E, F. Remember, the side across is going to be the lowercase letter that matches, D, E, and F. So basically, you should be able to set them up. So C is 15. If I want to draw my triangles, that means this is 15. Excuse me. And D is 8, so that means on the second triangle, this one was 8. E is 6, that was down here. F is 10. So basically, you're looking for A and B. So you should be able to set up some proportions. The one side you will have to use, you'll have to find the one pair that both have numbers. Obviously, the 15 and the 10 are both numbers. You're going to have to use that to compare them. So 15 compares to 10, and then match up another pair. So A would go with 8. and cross multiply and solve it. I would reduce this first, divide them by 5, get 3 and 2, makes the problem easier. Cross multiply, 2a equals 3 times 8, gives you 24. Divide by 2, a is 12. Do the same thing for b. I can go ahead and start with a 3 over 2 since I already reduced it once. And b is going to match up with 6. So cross multiply, 2b equals 18, divide by 2, b equals 9. Alright, and that's all of that problem. So let's do number 3. And I'm going to erase this information, leave the pictures in case I need them. Change this to number 3. This time it's going to tell me a equals 8, d equals 8, e equals 6, and f equals 7. So draw my two triangles again. Doesn't really matter what they look like, it's just to place things. A should be 8, D is 8, E is 6, and F is 7. In this case, when you try to match them up, you should realize first of all, you're looking for C and B, because those are the ones I don't know. 8 matches up with 8, which means essentially it's a 1-to-1 ratio, because 8 to 8 would be 1 to 1. So if I matched them up with anything else, it's going to end up with something like b over 6. This has to be 6 because they have to equal 1. You can cross multiply if you want. You should know off the top of your head though, b is 6, c is 7 because they're the same. Alright, go ahead and do number 5. This time c is 5, d is 10, e is 8, and f is 8. So I'm going to put my triangles again so I can label them. C is 5, D is 10. Oops, sorry, that's not where D is. D's on the other triangle. D is 10 over here. E is 8, and F is 8. So now you should be able to see that these match up, and I'm looking for A, and I'm looking for B. So 5 matches with 8, A matches with 10, cross multiply. 8A equals 50, divide by 8. You can't divide evenly, but you could reduce them by 2 and get 25 over 4, and leave it that way. Do the same thing for B, still using the 5 over 8. B would match up with 8, which means essentially you should already know your answer, but if you don't, it's 8b equals 40, divide by 8, b equals 5. Alright, go ahead and erase some of this. And I'm going to use number 7. Number 7 says b equals 8, d equals 8, e equals 4, and f equals 10. So I'm going to draw my triangles again. B is 8, D is 8, E is 4, F is 10. So I'm just placing them where they belong, which means I'm looking for C and A. I have to use this 8 to 4. 8 compares to 4, same way that A would go with 8, because that's how they would match. Make sure you do them in the same order. So if I go from this triangle to this triangle, I have to stay that way. I can't go the other direction. Reduce this first. I would reduce that to 2 over 1. Cross multiply, A is 16. Do the same thing for C. And I can leave it reduced because I already reduced it once. So 2 over 1 will match up with C over 10. So C equals 20. Alright, moving on to number 9. Number 9 says a forest ranger uses similar triangles to find the height of a tree. Find the height of the tree. So basically they've given you a triangle like that. With a line here. And this is 20 feet. This is 12 feet. Whole thing here is 100 feet. And this is my tree. This is what I'm trying to find out how tall it is. So I know the measurement of some other smaller thing that I could measure at 12 feet and 20 feet, and the angles are matching up. These are going to be the same angles. So I can use similar triangles, so I can match them up. So I'm going to go with the 20 matches with the 100, the same way that the 12 matches with the x, because it's the bottom of the little triangle compared to the bottom of the big triangle equal to the right of the triangle to the right of the triangle. So they've got to match up. I would reduce this, get 1 over 5, cross multiply, x equals 60. And that is the entire section 11.6.